What happened to his nose? See, this is what I'm thinking.
He cut it off.
All right, this is what I think. I think something happened with his nose, and he was like, I just got to play off the nose. And so he's trying to get around the nose.
He tried to do the Michael Jackson nose or what?
Oh, shoot. What do I need to do to fix this? All right, well, put these little horn thingies on my teeth. And
Bro.
did he have a diamond grill?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't watch it all. I just couldn't do it. But is that not kind of creepy? So he showed up at your door, and you say what?
He getting shot.
Hey, welcome to Not a Fitted Podcast. It's your boy, Anthony, the conservative Chicano. Sitting with my guys. Got the bishop, I got the token. And I just want to take a minute right now and just say thank you to everybody who's been tuning in once again. What an epic episode. Man, we had so many views, so many comments. I appreciate everybody who takes the time to comment. I do try to comment back. Couldn't do this without you guys. We're just seeing our numbers grow over all the platforms, and we're truly grateful, truly thankful for everybody who tunes in and leaves a comment. Even if you don't agree with us, it's okay. Had a lot of comments about the barbecue lately and everything else, but it's all right. We still love you. And like I said, I try to comment back. But remember, you can find us on all the platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Instagram clips everywhere. We try to get it really out there. Thank you, everybody who hits the like button, subscribe button, and shares. We do appreciate all that you do to help us get the word out there. Remember, we talk about culture and its influence on the church. And man, we take moments each time we shoot an episode, and we start off with the comments. And so we got to run it back. Had a lot of comments about Russell Brand, him getting baptized and him professing a faith in Christ. And man, I got to say, man, there's a lot of people speculating out there. There's a lot of people, questioning whether or not this is the real deal. Did he do it for hype? Did he do it, to reinvent himself? Did he do it to trend? What was going on? Had a lot of people talking about jury still out. We don't know. Is this going to be another Kanye moment? Is he going to do this for a minute and release an album or a comedy and then go back to the world and all this stuff? And I don't know. Let me get some comments for you guys. What do you think? Is this something he's going through, or you think there's something here? What you think? Go ahead, Bishop. What you think?
I don't know, but you don't. A new believer doesn't come to church, get saved, get baptized, and next day he's preaching. So just slow it down. Christians don't make this your banner, person that, you bring it on a circuit at your church now. Like,
okay.
Just chill out.
So instead of a man on a pole, we're going to bring in Russell Brand.
Yeah. Just give it the time. Give it a couple years.
So the mayor of Fresno, he doesn't have to be worried about losing his spot on the men's breakfast circuit. Russell Brand won't be coming in and taking his spot. All right. He's okay, man. He's okay.
So he's safe. Well, Russell Brand did a follow-up. This is his first week as a professing believer. And so let's watch this clip and let's take a look at it. Watch this.
Week one as a Christian has been amazing. The ceremony itself was incredible. I want to thank Bear Grylls and my mate Joe, the two men that stood either side of me and flanked me for their baptism itself. It was pretty incredible. There was a ceremony prior, some hymns. Those of you that have been baptized know about it. I did the baptism in the River Thames and in my home, so it was a very, very intimate experience. What I suppose most people will be interested in, other than the crazy detail that my mate Joe, during the ceremony, really injured his foot, and we went straight from the baptism into the necessary Christian life of helping people, going to a hospital, helping an injured man. Are there a lot of injuries in baptisms? There's another baptism injury. The ER and A&E departments around the world full of people fresh from baptisms, nursing wounds and injuries. The main thing is that since there's been a different connection. Do you see what an amazing gift this is? I've heard, because I'm sort of aware of media, even though I don't pay much attention to it for obvious reasons, that some people are cynical about it. And of course, if they could stop people awakening, they would stop people awakening. If they could somehow foreclose against it, prohibit and prevent it. Perhaps this is not unique to Christianity. Maybe if you are awakening in a way that's personal to you, and I'll be really interested in hearing, they would equally oppose that. But what they want mostly is for people to be controlled, curtailed, contained by their material models. They don't want people recognizing, oh, my life isn't about me. I've been caught up in an illusion. I've been lost completely in self. And now I must learn to untether myself from the tendrils of selfishness, egotism and self-centeredness and awaken to something greater. The Christianity that I'm learning about, that is fascinating me, is not a precursor to psychiatry. It's a precursor to quantum physics. It's a precursor, little star above there, it's just a Christmas decoration, don't get excited, I know what people are like. It's a precursor to a way of understanding consciousness, a way of understanding reality very deeply. What is the prima materia? Where did this come from? Who did this come from? And how are we personally going to overcome it? Let me know in the comments and chat what you feel. It's week 1 now, and it's been a beautiful week. Thanks, all of you.
Well, there's the clip. Okay, he got baptized in the River Thames, and someone got injured, had to go to the hospital. I just love doing that. That's okay. Go ahead. What'd you think? That was a good impersonation, though, wasn't it? Did I get any points for that whatsoever?
Yeah,
a Mexican with a British accent, bro. That's got to be worth something.
Yeah, high five.
What'd you think of that? Week 1.
So is he or is he not still smoking weed?
I don't think so.
You asked for first reactions.
Okay. No, I don't think
insight into quantum physics and.
So that's why you asked.
He's deep.
Okay.
How about that? He's
all
deep. Right. I don't know if all roads lead to Rome for him. In regards to like his belief, and I'm trying to like sift through what all he's saying.
He's always talked like this though.
Yeah, like I said, I don't even know who this guy is.
Okay.
I mean, I've heard of him, but I've never even heard of him until last week.
Well, he challenges people to leave it in the comment box. Tell them what they think. And what about you?
Well, that right there tells me like, okay, you're just doing this for show. You're trying to do this for clicks.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Or maybe that's just what people do who are famous and have.
Well, they're going to leave a comment in his comment box anyway. But what'd you think? What'd you think, Bishop?
I hope he's really saved, and he doesn't have to prove anything to me. I mean, it's relationship to him and Christ. So I want to be careful. I don't say like, hey, you got to say it this way or do it this way and prove to me that you're a Christian, because a bunch of other believers might come in and say you got to do it this way, you got to do it this way. But I will say this: as you hear him speak, he ain't speaking Bible. He's not confessing Jesus as Lord.
Sounds like he's just questioning a lot of things.
Yeah, that it's just awakening. But to what? To who? Like, there's like the idea of forgiveness for your sins, like all these basic tenets of the Christian faith. None of that's being said.
But wouldn't you put that on the person who's actually discipling them?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. And he doesn't prove it. He doesn't prove it to me. But if you just ask me to look at this, you don't hear any of that biblical language of like of this is what it means of my faith.
I would say that I think something is stirring. I don't know how. It sounds like to me he is trying to take this serious, and something is stirring for him. I do question who's guiding him. Like, how are they guiding him? Are they teaching him the tenets of faith and what it means to be a Christian? But I got hope for him. To me, like you said, he don't have to prove nothing to me. But I hope this is real, and I hope it's genuine. I know there are a lot of people who would be influenced by him, at least to investigate the things of Christ and the things of God. So I'm hoping it's real. Time will tell, but as far as I'm concerned, keep doing, Russell. Keep going. Read your Bible, right? Read your Bible. Find a Bible-believing church. Get involved. Get plugged in. Join the dream team somewhere. Start serving. Start taking, next steps in your faith. That's what I would say.
Yeah, because I think a lot of times the Christian church, you see someone that big a celebrity, that much influence, you're like, we can use that for the kingdom. Right. He can bring a lot of people to Christ. And it's like, slow down. Jesus is going to be all right. We don't need Russell Brand right now. We'll be all right. Give him some time.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right. People do start saying, if this person would get saved. You know what? The church isn't built on celebrities and big platforms and personalities. The church is built by us discipling other disciples. Yeah. So I agree with you. Okay, so let's get to our sci-fi section. There's some stuff I found this last week that I just got no answers for. I was a little dumbfounded. I was a little disbelief. The first one, I came across a news article, and listen to this. So I don't know how much you know about the AI world, but this blew me away, and I got to get some first thought reactions. And please, you guys, leave it in the comment box about Russell Brand. Leave it in the comment box about him as well. What do you guys think? What do you think about what's going on there? Okay, experts predict $1 billion market for men seeking girlfriends, not just any type of girlfriends, but an AI girlfriend. They predict that men will spend up to $10,000 a month on a fake relationship. What the heck is going on? Like, how did we end up here? Let me get your first thoughts. Go ahead. We'll start with the token on this one. Give me your first thoughts on that one.
Men will spend up to $10,000 a month on a fake girlfriend. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who got money who spend up to $10,000 a month partying and having fake relationships as it is. Maybe they'll pay out for this as well. That's crazy to me. It's just a computer screen, right? Like it's like a cartoon.
It is. Well, go ahead. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Bishop? Come on. Because I'm gonna add to something to this in just a minute. I almost did it, but I'm gonna do it in a minute because I got to throw something out there to you.
I don't know. It's weird. It's strange to me. I don't. It's something fake. It's fake.
Isn't it? Don't you feel like it's kind of depressing? Like, isn't this hard to believe?
Yeah, I don't understand the enjoyment of it. Like, like you really have to. I don't know. You must be really lonely, or you can lie to yourself. I don't know. It's
okay. I'm going to ask you a rude question in just a second. But the reason I think this is true, and if I'm not mistaken, I thought I brought an article up in one of our past episodes, and I'm pretty sure I did. But we can fact check this and Google it. But I think on the OnlyFans website, I think in the top 10, there is an account that the girl's not even real. She is an AI generated person. And if I'm not mistaken, she's in the top 10 money earners and she's not real.
Do you think they know that?
People know that.
Oh, I thought they didn't know. Maybe
they know that. And yet it still collects this cash. So my question is to you guys, what leads a person there? How do they get there? Like, what is going on that you would openly spend this money on this fake person, and now seeking companionship, you would spend even more money? Do you guys want to speak in that? What's going on here?
I mean, I do think it's real. I mean, this is sort of what people have done already, like with like online stuff. They were talking to real women, or with the case with Andrew Tate, he was talking for the women. That's why I hate that dude so much. He did this to men. He was the gateway. He started this whole, like he was one of the people that started this, so you make money off of this.
What did he do, Andrew Tate?
Oh, he used women to talk to other men, and basically rich men, and get money from them, like paying them monthly to talk to him. But it'll be him they were talking instead of them. There would be a face.
So like they would be the face that he would do the he would
because
he would be the key.
He's like, I know the psychology of man. I know what they want to hear, what they like.
Catfish.
Yeah, that's why he's a loser.
Wait, how's that catfishing though?
Because they were never really talking to her. They were talking to him.
He knew how to get the money out of the man.
Mm-hmm. Bait and switch, whatever you want to call it, then, Mike. Is this up to you? But here's my question:
entrepreneur, but
hey, hit him up.
What do they do?
He might be hiring side hustle.
He's about to go to jail and he want to help out.
But my question is how do you think a man ends up here? What do you think happened that these men end up here settling for these fake relationships? What's going on?
Man, I would say a plethora of things.
Well, give us a couple.
You keep getting burned. Like
okay.
Maybe you get into relationships and they just keep not working out, but you want to have some type of interaction with somebody. You don't want to be necessarily quote unquote by yourself. And so it's like, I know that I've tried all these different, I'm going to say types of women, but maybe different like personalities and things like that. And it just always ends up in the same spot. Maybe guys are just feeling brokenhearted and they're like, well, I know that this AI version of somebody won't lead me down that way.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
What about you, Bishop? You got anything like how do you think men end up here?
Man, the only thing I can think of is like maybe porn. You have this connection. You're used to a screen in the first place instead of having real connection with real people. So it's an easier leap for you.
Okay. So it's an easier path to walk through. Okay. So I have a thought, and I'm not saying my thought is correct, but I'll just present it to you guys. I think it's the lack of social interaction. I really do. I think it's more prevalent amongst the younger generation. I would say anywhere from 35 and younger, because there's not the social interaction, because you do have access to your phone and you're able to do so much through your phone, swipe right, all this other stuff. I think you build a habit, right, where you don't have to approach a female. And, it takes a certain amount of gumption to approach a female. And we don't have enough social events. So this is my shameless plug with, you need to go to church. You need to go to church where there are people around where you can have social interaction. Don't be a creeper, gentlemen. Don't be a stalker. But go ahead and involve yourself in the various areas of ministry, of things we do, where you could possibly meet, if you're single, you could possibly meet somebody who might be a future potential of a wife candidate. And this will teach you the social interactions, the social cues. I think this is just birthed out of convenience. You don't have to do much work. And if you are going to talk to somebody in the flesh, you have to do a lot of work. You have to think about what you're going to say. You have to think about where you're going to go eat. You have to think about what you're going to wear, the type of cologne you're going to put on, what's the first gift you purchase. This is the work. And men right now have gotten lazy. They don't want to put in the work. And so I just want to encourage people that this is a great time to volunteer somewhere. This is a great time to be a part of something. Continue to have social interaction, because let me tell you something. This won't give you the intimacy that you're looking for. You will need to have physical interaction. And I would say part of it, I think everything changed in 2010, and it's changing rapidly. When the iPhone became accessible to everybody, I think everything would change. I think they're literally going to go back and reconfigure and realign generational terms. In other words, how you got the millennials and Gen Xers and boomers, you got this period of time like they do 18 to 20 years. I'm telling you right now, they're going to have to put a split when 2010 happened because of everything that's taken place. So I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. And so that's just my 2 cents. That's just what I think. I'm not saying I'm right, but I just think it's been awfully convenient because men don't have to put in the work. And I'm telling you right now, I think we're going to pay a heavy price for it. Okay. I want to move on. I saw something and I had to watch it twice. Viewer discretion is advised. You may not want to watch it twice, but this is the sci-fi as it gets. I'm speechless. We're going to get first thoughts, but we're going to watch this now.
I will not be a part of this romance. I just can't take the chance because I see my opportunity to shout the last goodbye. The last goodbye.
Okay. What was that? Let's go to the bishop. What was that? What was that?
People do weird stuff. I don't know. People do weird stuff all the time.
That's not weird, Bishop. Come on, man. You got to come up with something better than that.
Man,
what was that?
There's dudes looking like girls that got beards. It's all over the place. We don't know what's going on.
This is. You don't think this
so
is,
what's weirder?
Yeah.
No, that's crazy.
Did you see that? Do you need to see it again?
No, I've seen them before too.
Hold on.
Yeah.
All right. What's
weirder?
No, but
help
dude,
me understand.
No, people are always
you
doing
always
weird
say
stuff.
leave it in the comment box. Here we go. This is the leave it in the comment box.
Okay, go ahead.
A dude dressed up and changed like that, like a Hellboy type guy, right?
I don't know what that was.
Or a dude who changes himself to be a girl.
Was weirder? Go ahead. He asked you.
No, then that's crazy. My first thought is like, does that dude have a girlfriend, a wife? Does anyone dating him? Is someone just as crazy as him to be with him?
For sure. 100%.
All right.
I bet you.
Okay, what did you think when you first saw that?
What happened to his nose? See, this is what I'm thinking.
He cut it off.
All right, this is what I think. I think something happened with his nose, and he was like, "I just got to play off the nose," and so he's trying to get around the nose.
He tried to do the Michael Jackson nose or what?
Oh shoot! What do I need to do to fix this? All right, well, put these little horn thingies on my teeth. And
Bro,
did he have a diamond grill?
yeah, I don't. I couldn't watch it all. I just couldn't do it. But is that not kind of creepy?
Oh, dude,
So he showed up at your door, and you say what?
he getting shot.
You getting shot? What?
Not saying nothing.
Not saying. What do you think? Shows up at your door. You welcome it in?
No, heck no.
Oh, okay.
Not welcome my house. Crazy.
What would you say to your kids?
Shoot him.
My part of my heart goes out for him. Like, bro, what?
Someone didn't love him.
Yeah.
Parents didn't love him, but he wasn't loved. That's for
What happened that you would do this? That part of my heart goes out. The other part of me is like scared. Like just legit like scared. Like if I saw you walking down the street, I would cross the street and just walk on the other side.
You pumping gas? You look over to say hi to somebody and you see him.
I'm no longer pumping gas. I don't care if I use all $180 it takes me to fill up. I'm gonna put it down, walk away. What are you doing if you pump a gas? You put it down, you walk away.
Squirting him with the gas.
You can't unsee that. People right now, I apologize in advance. Some of y'all gonna have nightmares, okay? So I just apologize in advance. But that is just, man, I got no words. But anyway, okay. So I want to talk to you about this week, getting on culture and its influence in the church. Just something hit me. I was at a graduation. As we're approaching graduations all over, the United States, people are going to be graduating from now until the first week of June, whether it's colleges, high schools, or whatever. And did you guys ever do a time capsule? Did you ever do a time capsule when you were in elementary? You got to bury it and you got to do all that? No, you guys are familiar with it, though?
Yeah.
You understand what you do? So on Instagram, I post a lot of 80s stuff because I remember doing a time capsule. We buried like a CD and all this stuff. Like what would, technology be like? What would the headlines, all this stuff.
They had CDs in the 80s?
No, but we talked about, what would music be like? But so we buried you bury the current newspaper and some other stuff. But then you also ask questions like, what will life be like in 12 years when we graduate and all this? Anyway, long story short, I'm at this graduation and I have been recently reposting some of the Atari games. Do you guys know what an Atari is? I didn't think so.
Yeah, I know.
So you don't got to lie just because we're on the podcast.
No, I never played one. I've heard of it.
Okay, you never played one. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't say if you ever played one. I said if you heard one.
Yes,
I heard of one.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, because you guys look like more Nintendo.
I mean, I've heard of horse and buggy too.
Oh,
But
you guys look like some Nintendo and Sega Genesis people. But anyway, so I started posting a lot of the stuff, a lot of the cars, cartoons, stuff like that. So I'm at the graduation and I thought, man, these youngsters who are graduating, this was a JUCO, so it had been basically 14 years, right, on average. What was life like back in 2010? Would they have imagined they are walking into a world full of these current headlines? Would they have been able to predict this, right? And it just got me thinking, what about kids now? Kids now who are currently in kindergarten. What's the next 12 years going to bring? And that really got me concerned from everything from our current moral standards, which we have none, to what's going on in our city, but to what's going on in the church. What is the next 12 years going to bring us? And so I thought what I would do is I'd go through a couple of headlines that I couldn't believe, that I thought, man, this can't be real. And the first one I want to start off with is I came across a headline and a news article. And matter of fact, this has a little bit, it's a little blurb from the local news station about a teacher, I believe she's 27 or 28, doing sexual acts on a 5th grader. So once again, viewer discretion advised, but watch this.
Tonight, alarming allegations against an elementary school teacher. Our Alan Henry shows us the disturbing messages that put her behind bars.
Hudson police say an 11-year-old's parents made a shocking discovery on his phone Monday night. It started when they found the boy talking to his teacher on the phone after school. Curious and concerned, they took his phone and discovered months of text messages between them. One conversation where the victim says, "Haha, bro, I just want to make out with you." His teacher responding, "I do too," like all of the time. The next day, the parents went to Rivercrest Elementary. Police were brought in and the teacher taken out in handcuffs. 24-year-old Madison Bergman from St. Paul was charged with 1 count of first-degree sexual assault with a child. Documents detail a search of Bergman's belongings and her classroom. Several notes were found between the victim and Bergman, one in her desk, several more in a folder Bergman kept. Police summed them up, saying, quote, "In her notes, she tells him that she loves him, wants to kiss him, he turns her on, and that she's obsessed with him." Bergman made her first appearance here at St. Croix County Court Thursday afternoon. She was released on a $25,000 bond, but as part of the conditions, she was ordered not to have contact with anyone at Rivercrest Elementary or with anyone under the age of 18. In a message to parents, the district encouraged families to limit the amount of texting and group chats that your child may be sharing and to review and monitor your child's phone messages. They're also offering mental health resources for students and families and will hold a meeting for 5th grade parents Sunday evening.
Okay, so 24 and the boy was 11. Man, I'm going to start this one off. Get rid of phones in school. Get rid of phones in school. And I don't care, all the way up to high school. Cuz you know what? Let me say this. Let me say this. About 5-6 years ago, there was this whole thing on all the, people were bagging on the church. All these people getting molested in the church. All these people, this happened in the church. Get rid of these pastors, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you right now, at least once a week, you're hearing about a teacher with a student. Our school system is broken and broke. Our school system right now, with all this free sex, all this stuff going on, this is the consequence. You sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind. This is the consequence right here. Get rid of the phones, get rid of those clubs, get rid of this stuff. This is the stuff that's taking place. Parents need to get back involved. And somebody needs to check these teachers. Not this whole, she got on bail and we forbid her to talk to any students. Nah, something wrong. You 24 and you talking to an 11-year-old boy like that? I can't wait to be with you. What is wrong with you? Something is wrong. Something is fundamentally wrong and needs to be corrected. And the school needs to take this, in my opinion, the screening process needs to be a lot better. And there needs to be some more oversight. You are not allowed to have contact with students. If you need to talk to the student, you need to talk to the parent. But you know what the problem is? We've given the students so much liberty. You can go out and get an abortion and not tell your parents. You can go out and get some hormones. You don't got to tell your parents. You can go out and call yourself another name and not tell your parents. You could change a school. A boy could be a girl and a girl could be a boy, and you don't got to tell your parents. And this is what you get for hiding everything from the parents. This is the horse crap you get right here. I would say something else, but then people would leave a comment about me. What'd you think when you saw that? You got an 11-year-old. What'd you think when you saw that? Well, yeah, I know you can't say everything, but
I think that it's important that as parents you are very involved in your kid's life. And when I say involved, I mean like you're just up in their business. Because there's so many different ways that things can go wrong these days.
How are you not monitoring what your 11-year-old is texting?
But I know a ton of people like in my kids' classes. I got kids in 1st, 3rd, and 5th grade. It's not just a 5th grader who has kids in their class with phones. There's 3rd graders walking around with cell phones, full access to everything. 1st graders, full access to everything. And so it's like, yeah, you can trust your kid to a certain extent, but then also, how do you protect your kid? So you want to give your kid all these liberties. You want to give your kid all these different things that maybe you didn't have when you were younger, but to what expense?
What liberties should an 11-year-old have?
Well,
I'll give you a liberty. You can choose between a fruit roll-up and a fruit gusher. There's your liberty.
I would say this. I'm not saying that all phones are bad.
I will. All phones at that age are bad. How about that? If you really need an emergency phone, you could buy your kid a flip phone that could dial. You know what? Okay, I'll prove something to you. You still remember your childhood phone number?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is possible. You remember your childhood phone number?
No.
No? That explains your generation. Okay, let's go back to you. So
that's the numbers I remember.
Okay.
My number.
Well, I don't want to. Okay, what number do you remember? Your grandparents? Okay,
that's the only number I remember.
Okay,
though.
but the point is, you remembered those numbers. So you could buy a flip phone and you could teach your kid the number.
No, but when I say all phones aren't bad, I'm saying they have phones now to to where basically that's all it can do.
And that's all it should do. No texting, no photos, no internet. Just be able to call if you in danger.
But even with the texting, there are certain phones that you can monitor. It's not like you can't hide it. Like with an iPhone, you can have these like hidden apps and things like that to where like they can hide things from their parents. All I'm saying is this: as a parent, you have to be like very up in the business of your kids. And I think part of that, unfortunately, I think part of that is on the parent.
Okay, but what about the teacher?
No, I mean, obviously it's the teacher's fault and there's something deranged about her. I mean,
What do you think should happen to her?
She should go to prison.
We got to start setting precedents.
Yeah, I mean, she probably won't, but...
Never teach again. Never around kids again.
Yeah, I mean, she probably won't be able to teach again. I don't know how they do things in Minnesota, but
Minnesota. Huh?
Yeah. Maybe over there they do things different. But anyway, I don't know. But yeah, she should go to prison, and you should throw the book at her. Set a precedent.
What do you think when you first saw that?
I know you guys probably don't have the same opinion, but I think this has been happening for a very long time. I don't think it's this generation that this stuff like happened. I think anytime you have people like in power, or you're going to have people like teachers like this, whether you're male or female, that are going to abuse kids. I think this happened. This has been for a long time. I think we see it more prevalent now because people are getting caught more now because of social media, because of phones.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you, but I just need you to quantify that a little bit.
Oh, I can't.
So what I'm saying is, I think it's heightened. I think if we were to put the statistics, I bet you 20 years ago. It wasn't once a week. It was probably, we hear about it once a year.
Oh, I think
50 years ago.
I think you heard about it less, but I don't think it was happening necessarily less. I don't think 50 years ago people were more moral. I think people had more power. Teachers had more power back then than they do now.
Okay, but what about this?
I don't know if I agree with.
I mean, teachers were, hitting kids in class. They had more power, more authority than they do now.
That's what we need to bring back.
Oh yeah, bring back a paddle. But I think sexual acts have definitely increased over this last decade.
Okay, but do you feel? What I was gonna say was, do you feel like? Because it seems like to me that in the past, when we would see a headline, it was a male teacher with a female student. What I see is
all day now
is a larger number of the opposite.
Yes,
female teacher and a male student. Mm-hmm. At least that's what it seems like. Mm-hmm. All right. So I understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So based off of your kind of like thought on this, do you think that that's always been the case? We just didn't hear about it, or do you think that there's been a difference now and there's more women?
I don't think you heard about it.
So you think there was still...
But granted, I'll say this. I'll make sure I say this. She should go to jail for the rest of her life.
Okay.
I think she will go to prison. I think it will be like whatever, a couple of years. I think we've seen that before. Depends on what she did with the kid. I think she will go to prison, but it'll be like 3-5 years, whatever, and she'll be out.
I still don't, Bishop. I don't disagree with you on a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna have to push back on that, and you guys can leave it in the comments too. I do think we see it more now. And like I said, if we could go back 20 years ago, I think this was further in between. Like I don't think it happened as much. If we go back 40 years ago, it gets less frequent. I literally think this has multiplied. It has literally, it's like a snowball effect downhill. I really do, because there's such leniency, because there's a hyper sense of sexuality now, and it's very lenient. I'm telling you right now, I just think it's more prevalent now than ever. That's just right.
I don't think sexual abuse has necessarily increased a great deal. I think it's more prevalent. I think sexual abuse is going on. I would agree in this aspect, but it was more with men who had power and authority, and people would just be quiet. They wouldn't go against them because they're a person of power. But I don't think sexual abuse is necessarily this great increase. I think it's a great increase of awareness.
Okay. Well, you leave it in the comment box. You can say Bishop's right, or you can say Anthony's right. It's up to you. I mean, we all know who's right, me, but it's okay.
All these dudes back in the day are abusing their nephews and their nieces, all this stuff, and everyone's just staying quiet. But now it's more prevalent. People are actually speaking up.
So you think people are just speaking up more?
People are speaking up. People are getting caught because you got your cell phone and the evidence is right there.
Hey,
because you're doing dumb stuff like texting a kid.
I won't disagree with you on that. Okay, I got to show you something else. I couldn't. First off, I was completely amazed. Second, I literally said to myself, that's a miracle. So I want to show you this, but a pastor was preaching yesterday, Sunday service, and a guy walks all the way up to the front, pulls out a gun, and tries to shoot the pastor. And it's all caught on video. And I just go ahead and headlines. This is in the headlines. Once again, I want you to watch this right here.
We're in a whole different kingdom than God. And God had chose.
Jesus.
So that was in Pittsburgh yesterday. Any thoughts on that one? What do you guys think about that?
They seem very nice to him, like on the takedown.
That's true. The guy did pull a gun, and everybody did kind of like.
They kind of did like a soft like
wrestling move. Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
like, man, where's the drop kick to the face?
yeah. Not like when
you try to shoot my pastor, like somebody's losing some teeth.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't like that Bishop Mari Mar thing where everybody just bum rushed the guy. This was okay. That's a good observation. But what'd you think? Homeboy was just trying to preach a sermon. Like if you were up there preaching and somebody walked up like that and pulled the gun, what's your first thought?
What was crazy is he said that he saw the guy move down to the front. He sat there, smiled at him. Then after he smiled at him, he stood up, came over, and did that. They said they found a dead body at that guy's house.
Oh my gosh!
Not the pastor, the other guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he was sent. He was
yeah. So he So
that
I
was
don't know.
intent.
Yeah, I don't know if he had maybe like a relationship with this pastor, and that's why maybe some of the guys like didn't maybe rush him or.
Oh, okay. So they're still
like
digging into this.
Yeah, like how random, like how quote unquote random was this?
As if preaching isn't hard enough, now you got to have a heightened sense of awareness of people who are sitting in the front.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got the thing with Mari Mar, and then you have this, and you have the Joel Osteen. They have a bunch of different stuff happening.
Bro, this is popping off. What'd you think when you watched that?
You know, I thought it was more to the story. Like, man, I wonder what motivated it. Why was there in the mic, shining some light on it? It makes a little more sense maybe why, they weren't so quick to add. They thought they knew this dude.
I was throwing it out as a maybe.
Yeah.
But think about that headline. You're just trying to enjoy your Sunday church with the fam, kids ministries. Maybe you volunteer, and it's becoming unsafe. You could really take a step back and go, this feels a little unsafe, and church is supposed to be a very safe place.
Well, they don't really care. I mean, people don't care that this is a Christian church. If it was a mosque, we'd have a day of mourning right now.
So you're saying you feel like that adds to it?
Yeah, I mean, people don't. The media,
why didn't they label this a hate crime already?
Yeah, because they don't care that Christian churches are being targeted.
But is it that the classification of a hate crime? It meets the standards, right? So I'm just wondering why. Even going back to that Joel Osteen thing, we don't hear about it no more. It's like swept under the rug. Like, wasn't that a hate crime? You deliberately went to a church. I'm telling. So going back to what I started with, okay? Just give me a second here. I'm sitting here thinking back to myself, these youngsters that are graduating, did they think 12, and this was JUCO, so 14 years ago, like this would be the headlines, that you can't even go to church, you're afraid to send your kids to school because of a teacher, you're afraid to attend church because somebody might get up and try to shoot the pastor while you're all just trying to hear a sermon. Like, what's going on, man? Like, this is just crazy times we're living in. And I feel bad because you know what? The biggest thing I had concerned about, when I was starting out in kindergarten, was are they going to serve pizza that week for the lunch, cafeteria pizza? And I'm telling you, cafeteria pizza hit different. Leave that in the comments. We didn't even have ranch dressing. That cheese was so mushy and gushy, man. You didn't need ranch dressing, right? Like that was I was wondering if that girl was going to check yes or no in a box that I tried to pass a note through my friend whether or not she would date me,
In kindergarten?
You know what I'm saying? Of course. I mean, these are the things, right? And I was wondering if my dad was going to take the big wheels off my bike and put on pegs so I could be cool. And man, we don't got that no more. Kids don't ride their bikes no more. Kids don't play till the street lights go on no more. Now you're afraid to send your kids even to school, man. And, we would do at recess. We wouldn't check our phones. We go play 3 flies. Who can catch the 3 balls? And I remember the janitor used to go out there and chuck it up in the air, and we'd just be wrestling out there having a good time. Tetherball and handball. And now kids are stuck in a corner looking on their phones, heads down. They're going to have a neck paralysis when they get older because they've just been bent over for so long. It's just, man, this just breaks my heart. It literally breaks my heart. We didn't have all the social anxieties because we didn't have the social connection through a phone. The social connection was right here. And you knew who your friends were and you knew who your friends weren't. Because those are the people you sat with down at the table for lunch. You kicked it. Remember this thing called recess? It just breaks my heart, man. That now, folks can't go to church without thinking, hey, that guy scooted up, man. Do we got to keep an eye on him? I mean, this is crazy times. This is me. You're sending a kid to school. You used to meet the teacher. And now you're looking, that teacher looked a little sus right there. I wonder. Your kid coming home saying, yeah, Bobby bullied me. He sent me a bad text message. Man, get rid of the phone. Bobby can't send nothing then. He'd have to tell you to your face. Back in the day, you know what you had to do? You had to go confront somebody to their face. And that made you think twice. Now people will just send a text message, post it through their DM. Boy, back in the day, you had to tell them to their face. That made you think twice. And I'm just saying, man, I maybe I'm too nostalgic, but I see these things and my heart breaks for these people. My heart breaks for these youngsters. Like this ain't the world I remember. Now I realize why the old timers pull me aside and they talk about the good old days. Met one of my neighbors at the new spot. Old man, he's an old boy, and we got to talking, and he started talking about the good old days. Now I realize why they talk about the good old days, because times are changing so rapidly. But anyway, so any thoughts about what I'm saying now about these headlines? Like any thoughts?
I would say it's not as bad as we in this way for kids as the headlines will make it seem. I think it's based on you as a parent. My kids go outside and play.
Oh, okay, but I'm asking you grew up in church.
Uh-huh.
Were you ever worried about somebody shooting your pastor?
No, I wasn't.
Did your dad and your mom ever talk, son, hey, here's our plan if somebody walks in with a gun?
No, but my kids aren't getting out right now either.
No,
my kids aren't thinking I want to go to church.
No, we talk about it. Mm-hmm. I guarantee if you pulled your mom aside, they didn't have.
But I guess I'm saying for my kids aren't experiencing that.
Yeah.
My kids aren't thinking that.
Well, they're super young. And
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think it's based upon you as a parent.
Okay.
You get to set the environment for your kids and the experience they get to have.
Okay.
It's up to you, unless you want to give them all this stuff and put this all in front of them. But my job is there to protect them and care for them. And as they get older, I can share more with them, but they don't have to walk around with this.
What's your thoughts?
I mean, I've had, I've definitely thought about all of this stuff with my kids being young and seeing the change in the public school system and wondering like, hey, how long are my kids going to be in public school? And what's being taught to them at school, and looking at this teacher sideways at parent-teacher conference, and wondering if they had Googled me, and and what would pop up if they did, and all that kind of stuff. It's like those are all things, especially when we were going through the stuff with Tower, and you could definitely see at times people will look at you, and then so you wonder how that reflects on their interaction with your kid at school, and
that's a real thing. I think you need to speak on that. That's a real thing. Teachers have so much authority and so much power now. That's a real thing. If they don't like you, you have to ask that question. Will they take it out on my kid? How will they treat my kid? What will they say to my kid? How will they try to influence my kid? I don't think that's concocted or made up. I think that's facts.
Well, yeah. I mean, one of my kids, I kind of set the tone. Back to school night was his first night, and I said some things to the teacher that, maybe they didn't like, and I think that one of my kids have kind of ate that pie for the rest of the year based on the interaction that I had with him, and so it does happen, but at the same time, like, I think it's a good learning experience for the kid. You're not always going to have a coach who likes you, not always going to have a teacher who likes you, and you got to learn how to work through it.
So I'm going to make a bold prediction real quickly on the Not Offended podcast. I'm going to make a bold prediction. 5 years from now, we're gonna go back to this episode, and I guarantee you, your take on what I was saying earlier will have changed.
About what?
About what I said about you. You will look back and go, those were better days than what I'm living in now.
No, I'm not.
Hold on. Let me finish. I'm not disagreeing with your parenting part. That's not what I'm disagreeing with. What I'm disagreeing with, the conversations. Mark this, timestamp this. This is a fact. The conversations you're having now with your kids, 5 years down the road, you will look back and go, I never thought in my wildest dreams I'd have to have this type of conversation, whatever this type of conversation is. And there's going to be the big three. It's going to be on the sexual identity, right? So anything sexual, I'm telling you, you're going to have that conversation. You're going to have a conversation about safety. All types of safety precautions, safety this, safety that. I'm telling you. So it's going to be sexuality, and it's going to be safety, and it's going to be spirituality. I'm telling you right now, because of the trajectory of the things that are happening right now, at the rapid pace they're happening, those three S's will come back to haunt you.
But the thing
in
is,
that regard.
as a parent, I already have. That's the thing is, if you're not involved, I already told
not to this level. This is what I'm saying.
I literally already told my kids, you ever feel uncomfortable at school, you tell them, you better call my dad. And I tell my kids, you need to have my number. You tell me, you call my dad, and I'll come get you. I don't care what it is. Anyone ever makes you feel uncomfortable, dad's coming here. And I literally told him these words: I'll destroy anyone who's trying to hurt you in front of you. I told him those exact words. I have no issue telling them that. If they know that, like, dad is always going to be there for you. It doesn't matter what. If you get in trouble and they make you feel afraid, I don't care if you did something wrong. Dad is coming, and dad's going to remove the threat. Period. Like, it's already high school. No, Christ is real. Jesus is real. Someone tells you different. All of the stuff we see culturally with them, with the traditions of the Mexican culture. Hey, no, that's not right. That's not true. These things conversations already had. I think in the past, people always trusted their kids with the teachers and left it up to them. We got to be, and a lot of times they did it wrong. I'm saying we now need to be more active ever than it was even in the past, because we can't trust them, the system in that way. And if you're not involved, then yeah, you're doing something wrong. But those conversations need to happen now, not later on.
And I'm not. Once again, I'm not disagreeing with your statement on the parent interaction. I'm not. I totally agree, and I agree with you, and I trust you that you will do everything you just said. I'm just saying we're going to look because of the trajectory is what I'm saying.
Look, I'm saying we're already there.
I don't think we see, that's where we got to take a step back. I mean, we've been on a faith journey for a long time now together. If you would have told me, 10 years ago that we would be where we're at right now with the things we're seeing, have lived through a pandemic, that the further we get removed from this pandemic, the more and more and more is coming out that this wasn't a pandemic. This was a man-made thing that now is becoming even more, dare I say, I mean, I don't know if YouTube will have this on there, but dare I say, manufactured. People saying now that there's reports, we have lawsuits everywhere now about what the AstraZeneca shot did, about what the Pfizer shot did, about all this stuff that when we were coming out saying, hey, I don't know about this, something's going on. Dr. Peter McCullough, one of the top guys, is saying, hey, we should have slow rolled this. Somebody got rich off this. The further we get away from it, the more we see that the people who were saying this stuff were not crying wolf, they were crying facts. That's what I'm saying. If you would have said we would have lived through a pandemic, if we would have lived through the ultra radicalization of the trans movement, man, 10 years ago, people thought of trans people, hey, something wrong with them. They have literally rewritten books to reassess things in the psychological field to say that it's not a disorder. Mm-hmm. We would have said 10 years ago, we would have cried BS. That's why I'm saying 5 years from now, if they were able to do this over the last 5 years, what are they going to be able to do 5 years from now? They're going to be able to tell you the gospel you're preaching is wrong. The things you are saying is wrong. God ain't real. That's manufactured. We are living in the facts. They will bend science to fit a narrative. I'm telling you, 5 years from now, we might be getting locked up. That's what I'm saying. Different conversations. You got to timestamp that. I'm telling you, it's facts.
The conversation is still now. You're having the same conversations now because it's not anything new. They're just keep taking it to another extreme. But it's like, no, my kids, we're going to stand up for what's now. My kids already understand that.
No, what's new is they're rewriting books. They never did that. They were not rewriting psychological standard books. They were not redoing those tests and saying that it's not a disorder. They were not doing that. I'm telling you, corrupt people with some money have gotten into power. They are rewriting things. AI was rewriting history, dressing up patriotic Americans, right, in Nazi uniforms. I'm telling you right now, if they're I'm just saying.
But I mean,
I'm just saying.
Doesn't that have to do with my fundamental beliefs, the beliefs that I have? But I'm saying that doesn't change anything.
I'm not talking about your beliefs. Yeah. I'm talking about the trajectory. The trajectory, not of your beliefs. That's why I think you're hearing me wrong. Not the beliefs, or I might be saying it wrong. And I'm not talking about you as a father, you as a belief. I'm talking about the conversations you're going to have because they've rewritten books or they've taken stuff out of books.
But no matter what they do about sexuality, it doesn't change the conversation to how my kids and the truth that is the truth.
You guys are saying the same thing.
It doesn't change. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. We're saying it's a conversation you have to have. It doesn't matter what they do. The conversations stay the same because the truth stays the truth. The gospel is the gospel.
Well, your conversation will have to change a little bit.
Yeah. So
the fundamental beliefs don't change.
That's correct.
The beliefs don't change, but the types of conversations you're having are different now than they were 5 years ago, and they're going to be different in 5 years ago.
It might be, Daddy, why are you locked up?
Yes, or it's going to be like, hey, Dad, like, is my teacher a boy or a girl? You know, or why is my teacher dressed up as a kitty cat?
That's facts.
And so I think that like that's the envelope that's
and then
being
why
pushed.
would you subject your kids to that?
Well, they wouldn't. My kids wouldn't be dressed.
So I'm saying I agree with your beliefs. Not going to change. I'm not arguing them. But the type of conversations. That's what I'm saying. 5 years ago we went. So stuff pops up on my timeline, and I'm thinking, from 2019. I'm thinking, boy, never saw that coming in 2020. Never saw that coming in 2020. Never saw. Okay, so I got another one for you. So. I think I showed this to you earlier, and you go, "That can't be real." I'm going to show it to the audience, and I mess this up all the time. This is a man identifying a woman as a woman. I don't know what you call that because I always say it wrong anyway. And they're convinced that they can be a part of the Muslim faith as they are. Someone's got to tell them, but here's this clip. Okay, watch this.
I just started reading the Quran and I am so excited about it. People thought when I first asked that I just wanted to read it out of curiosity, but I want to read it to study it. I started following somebody on social media that teaches the Quran and hosts a Quran book club for Muslims and non-Muslims, so I'm really excited to start going to that. She was describing the chapter of the bee and that just blew my mind. Like the way that she describes things and the way that the Quran describes things actually makes sense to me. And also, did you know that Allah is beyond gender? Did you know that actually scholars believe that there are two Qurans, the Quran of nature and the Quran, the actual book? And did you know that each chapter is named after a natural phenomenon? I don't know. This whole book is just blowing my mind and I am so excited. I got sticky notes so that I could mark out things that I was drawn to. And I'm not even through the first chapter and I already have a bunch of sticky notes. I'm definitely going to have to buy more tabs. I'm honestly having a whole revolution with myself where the way that I describe the universe and the things that I believe in are actually described in the Quran of believing in Allah. And I've never thought that I believed in God before, and now I'm really having a revolution of self of I think I actually believe in God. If you've been curious, I really recommend it. There are a lot of people who are converting. There's a lot of people who are reading it. I'm not saying I'm going to convert. I'm not saying that I wouldn't. And I don't know. I know that this is exactly what I need right now. I just wanted to say thank you and just point out how excited I am.
Okay, does somebody want to, I don't know what pronouns they use, but does someone want to tell him, even though I know he looks like a her, does somebody want to tell him? Who's going to tell him? Go ahead and tell him.
Tell him, D. Tell him.
Our next trip to Israel, let's take him. See what happens. We can go where the Dome and Rock's at. See what happens.
Him, hers ain't getting in.
We'll see. Man, the Muslims must have a great PR agent. It's just crazy.
Why?
How do people keep accepting them? These people are some of the most evil people in the world, and people just seem to love them. I don't understand. All the terrorists come from them. They attack Israel, and they're the ones people protest on their behalf. Like, it's absolutely amazing what they can do. Man, some great PR.
What was your? Is someone going to tell him? Someone going to tell him? You going to tell him?
I just feel like next thing you know, dude's like, you know what? I'm feeling like a tiger today. I'm going to start dressing up like tiger. I'm going to go to the zoo, jump into the tiger's cage. I'm just going to be with the tigers.
Let them do it.
Yeah,
but I feel bad. Like,
I don't think it's real.
Okay, you think it's fake? He said I got sticky notes. I was Like he's got little thumb markers. Like, bro, you don't understand. To them, you're an infidel. You are the worst of the worst, and they will kill you. Like, who's gonna tell them? Like, go ahead, buy a plane ticket to Qatar, dressed up like that. Let's see how that works out for you.
Gaza needs a lot of humanitarian aid. I'm sure that he would be more than accepted bringing aid to Gaza.
But you know what I mean? Like, I don't. It brings me back to that PR comment you just made. Like what type of PR do they have? That's impressive.
I don't know. It's
yeah.
a trip.
So the reason I brought that up is like, I don't think people. I have two thoughts. In one, I don't think you guys are gonna believe me. It was one of my thoughts, but it was. The first thought is, are people hungry for something spiritual? They just don't know what they're hungry for. They're searching for God knows what, if I can use it that way. Is this person genuinely hungry, or is this a trend? They're not hungry at all. They're just trying to get people to follow them on TikToks. Go ahead.
People want to feel good. I mean, that's why they just like, maybe if I change my identity, maybe if I change who I am, I'll get accepted into this group. I mean, you can say more that people are willing, they're seeking to be accepted by other people. I think they want a community. They want to feel loved. They want to feel cared for, and they'll do anything to try to fill that void. But what they do need, they need Christ. I mean, mentioned it yesterday, man, the answer to a lot of the problems, and we always say it's Jesus. I mean, the problem to the war in the Middle East is Jesus. I mean, if Israel will come to Christ and the Palestinians will come to Christ, problem solved. That's what Jesus would do.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna argue
and so
that.
that's what people need. I mean, and they'll find out who they really are. That guy trying to be a woman is not going to find out who they really are. They're going to keep finding themselves in a place of depression, of sadness, and they'll keep seeking and seeking until they find Christ, and they'll find who they really are.
Thoughts on that, or you want to leave it alone right there?
No, that's good.
Yeah, that was good. I do agree with you, Bishop, and we are going to leave it alone right there. I just will say I wasn't joking. It wasn't satire when I said I really do feel bad for him. I whether it's true or not, I'm just saying I think there are people who are hungry for God knows what, and they're just going to a well that's not going to satisfy them. Like this. Anyway, I won't go on a tangent again, but I'm just saying that's the part that breaks my heart. I want to bring up something talking about headlines again. I had to read this twice now. I'm bringing up Kanye West. So full disclaimer real quick, right? So 10 years ago in 2014, I think Kanye was going through sort of a conversion. And then I think it was 2016 or 2017, he drops that album, right? And it's a gospel album.
Was that long ago?
Yeah, and everybody's full on like, man, Kanye might have been as late as 2018, but we'll look at, and he's starting to do Sunday service. He builds up all this momentum. He's got his choir, blah, blah, blah. And then I wake up to a headline the other day, and I'm going to show everybody. I believe it's an MSNBC headline or MSN headline, and it says Kanye getting ready to start his own porn site. And I'm thinking to myself, talk about doing a 180 from a 180. Like, if you would have read those headlines a few years ago, you would have seen a person in transition of converting, and then halfway through, like a full-on drops. I still like Jesus is Lord album. I mean, it was dope. I used to follow his Sunday services. I thought all that was good. I thought this was the real deal. And then you see this guy go full circle. And by the way, you can find interviews if you look, and he talks about how porn ruined his life. And now he's going to start a porn site. I think this leads into where we started. You got to be real careful of famous people who give their heart to Christ, and then we want to immediately platform them and, they're going to lead so many other people to Jesus. I think we got to be careful, and I think this is a living proof of that. This is a testimony of that. We got to be real careful. But what are your thoughts about what I just said about Kanye? Are you surprised Kanye doing a porn site after he said it ruined his life? Or I know you're probably not surprised, but go ahead. You don't like Kanye to begin with.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I think to this point, I was thinking, man, I don't know what brought this up in my mind. Something happened Sunday, but it's thinking about older men teaching younger men, older women teaching younger women, and I think a big part of that is the experience. They've been through it. They've been proven that their faith has been proven through time, and you can trust them. It wasn't just like, hey, no, I'm gonna follow Christ for a year, then I'm out. But it's like, these people who are, spent 30 years following Christ, been married for 30 years, 40 years, and they teaching because they're, to the best of your knowledge, can be trusted to actually lead people into faith. And you see even as older pastors, teaching younger pastors, that's the pastor you can trust. Like they've been through it and they stay true to the faith. And that's what I'm saying. I think we have to be slow to, even as celebrities, as they're new believers, that we can't accept them. I don't want to just judge every new believer that comes in, whether they're famous or not, but that we just slow to give them influence in the church.
Yeah, what do you think? Does that surprise you about Kanye or no?
No, not at all. No, I was never moved with his music. I didn't think it was legit. But
a college dropout album still.
His non-Christian music. I mean,
I like this Christian music. I'm the only Kanye fan on this panel. This is horrible.
Well, we were proven right.
You were. No, you guys used to always tell me like, "Nah, Pastor, this is gonna be a phase." I'm like, "No, he's still dropping dope music."
Time will tell. I think, but for all of our faiths as well, time will tell.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It breaks my heart. You said something that I just want to piggyback off real quick. Who discipled him? Who is his pastor in his ear? And that's why this is so important. Who's in your circle? Who are you talking to about things? Who's in your ear? Who's discipling you? Who's teaching you the Bible? Because unfortunately, his house wasn't built on the rock. It wasn't built on a firm foundation. It was built on sand, and now it's falling apart. And that's sad. And that's why we need older men to teach the younger men, and older women to teach the younger women. And so that's just completely unfortunate. But I'm praying for him. He is still a brother, and I just pray that God gets a hold of his heart, and that he's able to deal with him, and that he will go seek discipleship, not mentorship, not coaching, discipleship. Somebody would teach, a well-established man would teach him who has. And this is the sad thing, who wants nothing from Kanye. That's the problem. Everybody wants something from Kanye. Somebody needs to disciple him who wants nothing from him, but wants to give something to him. And that's hard to find, and I pray he gets it. Okay, one last thing that, and I don't think you guys know much about this. Maybe you do, but I don't think so, because we had talked about it. But something happened, a big headline happened over the weekend that had a lot of people posting on Twitter, now X, that got people really concerned. And that was the anti-Semitic bill that passed in the House and in the Senate. And
wait, it just passed in the House, right?
And the Senate.
It passed in the Senate now?
Yes, it did. And so this is very alarming. It's very concerning, and it needs revision. I was not surprised to see that Candace Owens tweeted, or, what do you call it when they share it on Twitter now? You can't say tweeted. Okay, you say tweeted. Okay, I thought you have to say it was X'd, right? So anyway, she reposted about it. A lot of people started reposting about it. But this is what concerned me. A lot of pastors that I follow didn't repost about it and didn't talk about it. And I took a step back and I go, now I'm about to say some stuff, because I talked about it on Sunday. And I need everybody to hear me loud and clear. I've tried to stay pretty fair and balanced about the whole thing. I know you guys know that, but I need the audience to know that, about everything that's going on. And when stuff happened that Israel did and I didn't agree with it, I came out and said, man, I don't agree with it. I got no stones to throw, because nobody's dropped more bombs than America. I said, but I don't agree with it. When October 7th came out, I said, nope, that ain't right either. And Israel has a right to defend herself. Okay, so I've tried to be, and I made it no secrets that one of my closest friends, best friends, is Palestinian. I didn't make it no secrets. I didn't make it no secrets that we support several Jewish organizations. I haven't hid anything from anybody. But when I saw this bill, and in a particular part of the bill, and you can look it up, it says that we are no longer allowed to say that the Jews had a part to play and that they crucified Christ. That is going to be anti-Semitic. I don't know why. Either pastors were asleep on this or something else is going on. But listen to what I'm about to say, and you tell me if I'm right in this. Israel doesn't get a blank check to do whatever they want and to make rules in America that aren't very American. And like it or hate it, the First Amendment is there for a reason. This is what I was talking to a friend about this. I said, if your neighbor wants to stand across the street and call you every foul thing in the book, he has that right. Now, he can't threaten you, Okay? But he has the right to cuss you out. And by the way, can I just add one thing real quick, and then I want to hear what you guys think about this? If anybody knows that people are allowed to say all sorts of things about you from across the street, who better than us? And after everything we went through for 3 years. So I think we got a full view understanding, right? And that the police ain't going to come and do nothing. Matter of fact, from across the street, they can videotape you all they want to. So I don't know. What do you guys think about? To me, this is a classic overreach, and I can't believe how many of our Congress members and senators went along with this. This has got problems.
I was wondering, obviously it's intentional. I was wondering why they put that in the bill.
Which one?
Why they put the part in regards to Jesus' crucifixion.
I don't know, but you want me to read the statements in the bill?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, calling for aiding or justifying the killing of harming Jews in the name of radical ideology and extremist views of religion. I agree. But by the way, that's not protected under the First Amendment. You cannot yell fire in a crowded movie theater and not be convicted of that crime. So there's already a law for this. Okay. Making malicious, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews as such, or the power of Jews as a collective, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, and other social institutes. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because we say, I joked about it in one of my services yesterday. I said how Jesus did a lot of his ministries in a triangle, and I threw up a triangle and I go, knock it off. That's not the Illuminati sign, okay? I just put up a triangle to show this was his ministry. That was all. And it's like people come, this is the whole thing we do. This is what makes America, America, right? Okay, so anyway, accusing Jews as people of being responsible for real or imagined wrongdoings committed by a single Jewish person or group, or even acts committed by non-Jews.
Wait, what? Accusing them for something that really happened.
I can't make this up. Denying the fact, scope, mechanisms, i.e. gas chambers, or intentionally of the genocide of Jewish people at the hands of National Socialist Germany's and its supporters and accomplices during the World War II. In other words, denying the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Okay. We have people who deny right now that the earth is round. They're called flat earthers. Like, I don't understand what the bill was trying to accomplish. They said they came up with this because of the protest of what was going on at the college campuses. That's not true. This bill was written last year. Accusing the Jews as a people of Israel or as a state of inventing or exaggerating the Holocaust. Normal people who've been taught the right history, I don't know of anybody who's ever questioned that. But I understand why they wrote this, okay? But a wise pastor once told me, if you preach a sermon with ill intent in your heart, because you're really trying to say something publicly to a person you should have said privately, and you're trying to sling that stone, you're going to hit everybody in your congregation except that person. Because this is a private conversation you're supposed to just have. In other words, don't do that. Don't do that. I think right now they're trying to single out these individuals instead of just going back to the laws that are already at hand. That's my opinion. Okay. It says, denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination by claiming the existence of a state of Israel is a racist endeavor. So in other words, stop calling them colonizers. Okay. People have the right to call you whatever they want to call you. That's just, I don't understand that. Like, once again, if they say it from a distance, you're allowed to say that. You have people right now who say, well, slavery wasn't bad. We need to go back to slavery. Okay, you're allowed to say that. We're not doing it, but you're allowed to say it. Okay, anyway, it says this, using the symbols and images associated with classic anti-Semitism, claims of Jews killing Jesus or blood libel to characterize Israel or Israelis. Well, I have a question. Well, who killed him? Who killed Jesus? They're going to say, well, the Romans crucified him. Yeah, at what? At the behest of what the Jews wanted at that time. They wanted him killed. The Bible clearly states that. Why did Stephen die in the book of Acts?
He accused them
of killing Jesus. And he said, like you killed the prophets before him. My gosh. Drawing comparisons or contemporary Israeli policy to that of the Nazis, holding Jews collectively responsible for the actions of the state of Israel. That's the bill. Give me your first thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I right away when I had heard about it, I wanted to see what a few people would say, especially the Daily Wire, since they've already been under a lot of heat.
Did they come out and say anything?
Yeah. Ben Shapiro. I mean, everyone said they were against it. Then Ben Shapiro said specifically, I think this is Title VI. I think this is part of, and he said get rid of the whole thing. And he
he did.
It. Yeah, he disagreed with it. Mm-hmm.
So who's backing it?
Okay, so this is the guy who's backing it.
Hey everyone, it's Congressman Mike Lawler. I just want to say how proud I am that my bill, the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, just passed the House of Representatives, 320 votes to 91. This bill has broad bipartisan support and will begin the process of cracking down on the anti-Semitism that we've seen run rampant on college campuses all across America. This is a big day and a big win. Now we got to get it through the Senate and signed into law. I look forward to working to get this across the finish line.
So the bill that if you watch that video, the bill he's referring to is the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act of 2023, H.R. 6090. Today, that could convict Christians of anti-Semitism for believing that the gospel that says that Jesus was handed over to Herod to be crucified by the Jews.
So, but the Daily Wire is under a lot of, because of
the Candace Owens Christ is King.
Right, because they're supposed to be pro-Israel,
mm-hmm.
but they don't want to back this bill.
No.
So you're saying Ben came out and made a comment?
Gay stand against free speech.
Okay, but I don't understand, why aren't more pastors talking about this? Okay, give me your first thoughts on this. Is this just ludicrous or what? What's going on with our Congress members? I mean, hello, is this a classic case of I don't think they've read it?
I don't know. A lot of conservatives voted for it too, right?
Yeah.
Or Republicans.
321. What did he say? 321 to 69 or something? That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah,
and I don't. I'm just wanting to follow the money.
Oh,
you saying the Jews got all the money, or what?
Yep.
So you're saying you want to see who funded this?
I want to follow the money on this because politicians, whether you're on the right or the left, I don't trust either one of you. They all like the money, and so the vote. For me, the vote is like, let me follow the money on this because it doesn't make any sense. That's why I asked about.
Yeah, even Tim Scott, active Senate member, came out and was like, "Let's do this bill. I can't wait for it to pass."
Yeah, so there's got to be more to it. That's why I said the Daily Wire thing was like, okay, I'm thinking maybe people who are like super pro-Israel are down for this, but if they're not down for it either, then who's benefiting from this?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a little bit things from also like the Daily Wire that talks about on their news like casting. They were saying there is some money that's supporting these things that coming from like non-profs that people are giving to. They're like, hey, is our money going towards this? Like, what's going on? And people are questioning like who's supporting. Again, where's the money coming from? Who's supporting this? And is my money going towards this?
Okay, I'm gonna let's leave our people with a final thought. I have a question for the final thought though. Okay, so it's not just thrown out there. In your opinion, is banning the Bible? Or will they try to ban the Bible? Is it coming sooner than later? In your opinion, Bishop, we'll start with you. In your opinion, or certain parts of. Let me go. Either the Bible or certain parts of the Bible. Go ahead.
In some aspect of it, I think so. I think what they will want to try to do is change. I think they prefer to change Christianity.
Okay.
Than more ban it, just like soften it. Make it like what a lot of people are doing now, like in the Methodist Church, how they already been splitting up for a long time for the last 10 years, and now they voted to have endorse gay marriage and all these type of things. They'd rather have that, I believe, than actually ban the Bible. They'd rather soften our power. Because if you try to go straight out banning it, you're going to see an uprise, I believe.
Okay.
I think you see that throughout history in the Christian
so
faith.
So slow burn.
They may not. They may not realize that, but that will happen. And I think some people realize if I can make the Christian church stay here but make it weak, I think they prefer to have that.
Okay. What about you?
Yeah, I would agree in the sense that I don't think they're going to flat out and say, hey, you can no longer do this. You can no longer say that. But I think that they'll do different things in order to like go around the back door. and they will try to say things such as, you can't say it like this, but you can say it like that. So you can still practice your faith, but in the confines of like how we say that you can practice your faith. You can still believe that, but in the confines of like how we say you can do that. You can still, no, we still have freedom of speech. No, we still have freedom of religion in public schools, but
that's racist, or that's harming to another person. And I can't, because interesting, even they talk about you can't say certain things about the Jews, about like colonizing, but they say the same thing about white people. I thought about it. Like it's the same thing that they say all the time. It's like, hey, you guys did this to us, you're our oppressors, and they still have that same view right now. And so it's like, if you could just change up the language a little bit, and soften the Christian faith, and we have no power. We'll have no power in the first place, and they see us as not a threat anymore.
I just want to take a moment and I want to just encourage everybody who listens to us, find a Bible-believing church, find a pastor who is willing to walk the line of the radical middle and who's able just to call things as they are. You need to find a pastor who's able to get up and say, hey, listen, this bill's not right. You cannot silence free speech. You cannot tell us how to preach the Bible. You got to find a pastor who's not loyal to an elephant, who's not loyal to a donkey, but who's loyal to the lamb. You need to find a pastor who's saying, listen, my number one goal is to make sure that hell is vacated and heaven is populated. You need to find a pastor who's willing to put himself out there and say, you will not silence me. I've given my life over to Christ. I will preach this gospels without hesitation, without reservation. I don't care. Come what may, I will preach the word of God. I have been through hell and high water. I have stood the test, and I will continue to preach the word of God. If it costs me my life, then so be it. A martyr crown awaits me. I will not be afraid of what man could do to me here on earth. I'll be afraid of my ultimate judge, who is Christ, my King. And so all I got to say is y'all need to find that, because I'm tired of pastors just being loyal to a certain politician who obviously has somebody in their pocketbook. So you need to understand, you need to be aware, you need to find that church. It's not going to be a perfect church. It's not going to be a perfect pastor, but you need to find a pastor who has the courage to stand up for what is right and what is wrong, no matter what is going on. You need to find a pastor who has a backbone and not a wishbone. You need to find a pastor who is able to say, hey, listen, we need to let this play out a little bit and see what's going on, but I will not be silenced for what God has called me to preach. And I just want to encourage you to do that, because it is going to be a time, and it's coming, where we got to stand up and we got to stand strong on the word of God in totality. No picking and choosing. We got to accept the whole word. This has been the Not Offended Podcast. Peace. We're out.